The movie Up is just such a good film. Hello there, namaste. So the movie Up is basically this massive tearjerker of a film. It starts off with Carl Fredricksen in the theaters, basically watching the adventures of Charles Muntz, who's basically a world explorer, and they found this one place in South America, and he discovered some bones of a bird, and the scientists all told him he was a fraud, so he's leaving to South America to go hunt it. Carl's returning home, and he ends up hearing a girl saying all the lines of Charles Muntz, and he falls in love at first sight. The girl he meets is Ellie, and she's just this yappity, talkity type of person. You know, the bubbly type that just can't shut up. Carl can't even open his mouth around her because he's so smitten. And then basically we get a montage of their life. Carl has promised to take her to Paradise Falls, where Charles Muntz found the bones and discovered and said it was a beautiful place. So he has promised her that. They spend their lives together saving up to go do that. And then in the first, 5, 10 minutes, you just feel like you want to break down crying because she's in the hospital bed, dying of old age, holding her adventure book where she had planned to add her future adventures in. And it just hurts because she had told Carl at a young age that this is where I'm going to put my adventures when I finally get to Passion Falls or Paradise Falls. I mean, in the first few minutes, this is like watching Bambi and then hearing the gunshot off in the background and just knowing what happened. It is dark. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. So freaking sad. Because statistically speaking, men, after their spouses have died, they have a lower life expectancy than if he had died first. Most likely, Ellie would have lived a longer life because, well, they seem to have a better time just going like, well, I'm free now, don't need to deal with this stubborn dude. And you can feel it. That's the thing. You can feel that he's given up on life, and it is tragic until Russell shows up and is trying to earn a badge for helping the elderly. Why would you choose Carl, this curmudgeon old man? No clue. When you're in a big city, you could just grab a random old lady's hand and help her across the street. But Carl fills up his house with helium balloons and travels to South America. And he's gonna hit their dream house, fulfill their dream by leaving their house on Paradise Falls. And that's basically the story. Carl trying to get his wife's dream home to the place she had always wanted, to fulfill the promise. Sadly, he's stuck with Russell consistently next to him. And that's the thing. It's like Russell takes the place of his wife because his wife was the bubbly, talkative, just couldn't shut up type of person. Who does he end up stuck with as a kid? The bubbly, a talkative, can't shut up kid. And it's just like you see it and it's just like, okay, the symmetry here is just uncanny. But this film is just so heartfelt. He runs into his childhood hero, Charles Muntz. Turns out that, of course, Charles Muntz is going to be the villain because he was said he was called a fraud and has never returned back to society because he's trying to find Kevin. And of course, he has hundreds of loyal dogs that can speak. Squirrel. You just have to. Because every time I walk my dog now, immediately he does that. And I know why. But Russell's the type to make friends. He makes friends with Kevin. He makes friends with Doug. He even makes friends with the curmudgeon old man. You know, the stubborn old man. He even makes friends with him. And this is where the heart of the film is, because the film relies around the fact that Ellie wanted to go on an adventure to Paradise Falls because that's where she was going to put in my adventure book. That's where she was going to put my future adventures in. It was going to be filled with pictures and notes of her trip. And this stubborn old man, of course, every time he'd get to that page, he'd close the book. Every time he'd get to that page, he'd close the book. But after he's finally fulfilled the goal his wife had set to him, it's just, and this is like, before the final act of the film, and it just hits you hard because the journey isn't what you plan to do. The journey is the memories you have. The journey is what you have done in your life. that is worth remembering, that is worth honoring, that is worth being noted. And that's the thing. Like, I've seen other films that try to do this old man's dying and he needs to be remembered, and it's just like they just don't know how to do it because it's the old man just being selfish and not realizing. But in this film, Carl was willing to do anything for his wife because that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to fulfill his wife's final dream, and then he would have not, like, honestly, if he didn't have that final goal, he would have ended up kicking the bucket. Let's be honest. That's just how men are. As long as his that goal was met, he was going to kick the bucket. But after going through the book, he realizes what his wife truly wanted, and it's just like that right there hits you hard. It's just like, yeah, you can't just give up because the one that matters most to you in your life has gone. You can't just give up. There's other people who will need you. And it's that moment. It's just about having more adventures. I'm getting a little choked up just talking about it because that scene right there just hurts. It hurts watching him being like, oh man, that means so much. And sadly, we don't get kids' films like this anymore. This film is definitely worth a watch. It's definitely worth a rewatch. It really is. Because watching it as a kid, it's funny, it's enjoyable. Watching it when you get a little older, it's more heartfelt and just tragic. Watching it when you get to an elderly age, it's about just moving on and not just being anchored down by the one who you might have lost. You have to know that there is more to life than just that other person. Sure, that other person means the world to you, but that doesn't mean they want you to join them as soon as they're gone. Oh man, I just need to end it here before I start choking up. Up is an amazing film. Absolutely recommend it. Oof, Pixar's old days were just so grand, so perfect. Annoying characters, lovable animals, which are both annoying at the same time. You have a stubborn old man who learns something along the way. You have a kid who's part of a broken family who relies on this strange old man. You just have something that's more wholesome. And I freaking love it for that. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.
You guys got a video? So bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, wait on that.